that over just a smidge. All right, let's see if we get anybody in here and get started this morning. Get all my settings. See if we can get anybody to start. Hey, Jersey Trucker. How are you this morning? Yeah, I'm trying to get all my settings set on the computer here, make sure everything's coming through loud and clear. Is everything coming through good and clear, audio and video? Let me know. Give me a thumbs up on that if it is. I'm doing fine. How about yourself? I've actually been out driving this week myself. I've had some sicknesses going around with some of my drivers, so I've had to actually get out in the truck myself this week. I ran out of drivers. Loud and clear, is it? Okay, good. I got me a new microphone to check out, and I was hoping it would come in good and clear. And hey, Ralph, how are you this morning? Got a little frog in my throat here. I might clear it with a little bit of Mountain Dew. You got a bad signal, Ponca? Huh, okay. Has everybody else got a good signal? Unfortunately, I hope it's Ponca's signal, not mine. Is the audio and the video good, guys? Ponca says he has a bad signal. Ralph, Jersey, how about it? Is the signal good back to you? Y'all let me know. Oh, it was you, was it? Okay, good. I'm glad it was you, Ponca, not me. I'm trying my best to put the best signals out here. Yeah, I had a little vacation driving this week. Yeah, I had to workcation, I guess, or a work vacation. Yeah, I had one driver that's been out real bad sick with the flu. I had another one that was off for a wedding. I had another one that had to get off for a graduation. So I was running out of spare drivers, so I had to put me. I had to put the worst driver in the seat. That was me. And so it just one of those situations. Sometimes you run out of drivers. Yeah. So everything's good on that end. Okay. I'm hoping the signal's good. I'm working hard at trying to get a good visual and a good audio. They say that's what's good for these live streams and everything, that people don't want to tune in if you don't have a good visual and a good audio. So I've worked hard at trying to give the best possible signal. I got a good little camera up here, and the lighting, I've tried to get the lighting so you can see everything good. And hopefully I'm doing a good job at that. If I can do anything right, I hope I can at least do the audio and the visual good. But yeah, I've been out driving this week, driven in the snow several times. I had to drive up to Knoxville, Tennessee, a couple days, and so that's one thing. Plus, Monday I had to do a little bit of orientation for early Monday, not just Monday. I guess Sunday night, early Monday, I had to do orientation on a new driver. Of course, he's experienced, but anytime you have somebody new in your system, you want them to be have good orientation with what you're doing within your system. And so that's basically what I had to do. I had to make sure that he understood how, I got a bad hair day today. I washed my hair last night and got up and I looked like alfalfa this morning. But anyway, I went down early Monday morning and was able to help him get acclimated to the system. Like I said, he's worked at several different jobs and he had worked in the FedEx system before, but we had to change some things around. Anytime you've got, like I said, a new employee, you want them to be able to adapt to the way you do the system, and that's what I had to do and everything. Hey, Greg, how are you? Greg, you didn't make it first this morning. What happened? You and Ponco are usually first. I guess it's slow go out there this morning. But I hope the weather's been good for everybody. We've had a little bit of weather in North Carolina. It snowed yesterday. Snowed a couple of days when I was going up to Knoxville. I'd run into it through the gorge and everything. And then I tried to, I got one of my new trucks going, and in the process found out that it had not a charge air cooler, EGR cooler problem. So we had to, I had to work around that. The first day I had it, it was leaking water, and I had to stop several times, add water, and it would shut me down for a little bit. It wasn't leaking that bad, but it was leaking bad enough I could go about 75 miles, and then I'd had to. Well, good morning, Tim. I had to add some water about every 75 miles, which is aggravating, especially when it always invariably when something like that's going to. Hey, Nova, how are you doing? Oh, kidneys. Oh, golly. Don't talk about kidney stones. I've had those. Kidney stones are the worst. I know. I've had that in the past. But as I was saying, about every 75 miles, I'd had to add some water because it wasn't losing that much. But, if it gets just below the sensor or right at the sensor, it would shut down that engine. It's got that engine override. The engine shutdown that would come on. It wasn't that critical low in water because you're only speaking of about being a half a gallon low at that point, and it's got 10 gallons in the radiator, so there's plenty of water in the radiator. It's not like blowing a hose out, but still, it was aggravating enough that you had to make sure that you could be in the right spot to be able to add some water. One time, though, it seems like it always works in the wrong place. One time it was in the gorge, of course, but luckily they have a pull-off in the gorge in one spot where it's like sort of an accident reporting thing. And I was able to pull off there and pop the hood and put some water in. And another time going down Black Mountain on the way back, I was going down Black Mountain and it came off, but I could hit the override and just coast all the way down on Black Mountain. So it wasn't too critical. It wasn't too scary, but it could have been bad at times. I would have hated to have been going up Black Mountain and that happened because that would have been a little more aggravating, but it wasn't. But that's the way it goes. You have to deal with it. But we got it back in, and Friday, I ran again Friday so I could. Jim was going to drive Friday, but he was more important for me. Yep, start your engines, getting ready for NASCAR today. And my buddy Landon's going to be down there. We have to pull for him, number 24 car. One of my business partners, Landon Walker, he actually, he and his wife work with us, and he's the gas man for the 24 car. So everybody pull for the number 24. That's a William Byron on the Hendricks teams. He's a good young driver. I think he's going to do something this year. He won a couple of poles last year, so he's in the race today. He's in the, what is it called, the Busch Clash today. I believe it's what they call the race. They're going to be qualifying, and they're going to have the Busch Clash too. So, Landon had to fly down early this morning. He's the weekend crew for NASCAR. He's the gas man for the 24 car, and he flew down, and he's going to be doing that and then flying back tonight. And he and I have got to meet with a new driver tomorrow. So we're doing that too. And then, hey, Shoestring, how are you this morning? Yeah, I'm out here at my Napa store. Yeah, and Cobia Cobia was 24 too, wasn't it? I forgot about that. But Yeah, 24 is the car that he'll be driving today. I mean, not no, he won't be driving. He'll be fueling today. But actually, I don't know why they had to fly him down for that, because I don't think they even fuel. I don't know if they have to do a fuel stop or not in the Bush Clash, because they can drive that amount, I think, without a fuel stop. I don't know. I'm not certain, but they may mandate, some of those, they mandate the rule that you got to have a tire stop, fuel stop, and within the race parameter, I think. Now, where are you at, Tim? Way over here, anyway. Now, well, you watch it on satellite probably. If you can get a satellite channel, it's probably. Now, where are you from, Tim? Italy. Oh, okay. Yeah, in Italy, can you pick up any of the channels? I think it's going to be on Fox. The Fox network's going to be carrying that today. So I don't know if you can pick that up or not. Can you get satellite? Can you get satellite over there, Tim? If you can get satellite, then you can probably watch it. Of course, it'll be late over. Yeah, it's going to be late by the time it gets. Because I'm now. So what time is it in Italy right now? You're probably what, 6 hours ahead of us. Yeah, you're probably 6 hours. If you're in Italy, it's 9:11 here on Eastern time, so it's already what, 3 o'clock or 4 o'clock in the afternoon over in Italy. 3:11. So you're 6 hours away. Okay, that's what I was wondering. Yeah, so by the time that race starts, it's going to be on up into the night for you, because that race probably doesn't start till 12 or 1, so it's going to be another 4 hours away. So it'll probably be about 7 o'clock tonight for you before it even starts. But it ought to be a good one. The Bush Clash is usually it's a pretty good race. It's short. Well, you're not going to be able to see it if you don't have TV. Of course, you can get it on the internet. If you got YouTube TV, do you subscribe to YouTube TV? Because YouTube TV they'll carry it over here. I don't even know. Can you get YouTube TV over there? That's the thing. Okay, if Wi-Fi is an adventure, then yeah, you'd have a hard time. That's the thing about it. You'd have to have a good Wi-Fi. Yeah, we got them from Italy, Oklahoma, I think Alabama, Georgia, and of course Shoestrings in North Carolina. He's in the Shoestrings over at the other part. He's at the eastern part of North Carolina, and Greg. Gosh, I keep forgetting where Greg's from. Greg's from. Is it Georgia, Greg? I haven't written these down. I probably ought to write everybody's addresses down where they're from. But yeah, it's good to hear from people from all over the United States and all over the world. I've got some German people that have signed in, just a variety of people. Yeah, Georgia for comfortable, man. Okay, Tim, I've seen you in your. I'm gonna put you as a moderator. I'm gonna add you. Now you're gonna have you'll have a blue tool like the rest of them there, Tim. So I'm gonna put you in there. You've been checking out my channel pretty good and everything. I hope you'll be a regular. Oh, wow. Now, Tim, are you originally from Italy, or are you a transplant? Yeah. Yeah, we'll use RVT as a reference. Yeah, RVT is a good friend. RVT doesn't live that far from me. He doesn't. He lives over in the Mooresville area. You're originally from New York. Okay, so you're a transplant from New York. So you're a U.S. citizen, and then you're just over in Italy right now. Then that's I'm assuming that's right. You go back and forth. What kind of work do you do, Tim? What kind of work are you involved with? Of course, I've been in the transportation business most of my life. I've been as something I'll understand. Trucking, as you can see behind me here, see the Carolina freight trucks. Uh, oh, okay. Well, I can offer you a job if you want to come to the United States. I don't have any branches in. I don't have any branches in Italy. That's for sure. You'd have to have your CDLs and your doubles endorsement and a year's worth of experience, and then I could do something with that. But yeah, yeah, anything verifiable there. If you're in the transportation business, yeah, just give me a buzz. Got my nose itching there, but you're gonna play some oldies. Are you in the music business? You got me confused here. Of course, now I do some DJing. I've got to actually, when I finish today with my YouTube channel, I actually got to go back to my home studio and do my radio show. I do a radio show each week that's produced. Well, I produce it at my house. I got a home studio, and then I broadcast it on Tuesday mornings, uh, and you can actually pick that up worldwide. Old time trucking company. Okay. So that kind of oldies. But yeah, I'm kind of plugging my radio show. If anybody wants to hear that, now I play oldies. I mean, real oldies from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. I play that on Tuesday mornings from 10 until 12. And I'll tell you what I'll do. Let me put the link to it, and you can pick it up worldwide for a lot of you guys. You can pick it up on KTC Broadcasting. Whoops, let me spell right here. Yeah, there is the link that you could. There's a link that you can go to actually hear my radio show if you like oldies, and you can go to that on Tuesday mornings. Let me see. Let me type that in too. Tuesdays mornings, and it'll be 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And that's what I do. That's what I do on the on Tuesdays. But 99% of the time, I'm into the trucking or the Napa store, so I'm not. That's sort of a side. Okay, now have you been involved with all those? Hennis was a company based in North Carolina here. I remember that. And Spectre Red Ball got bought out by Carolina Freight. Spectre did. It was Spectre Red Ball at one time, and then they got bought out by Carolina Freight. Now, of course, Roadway that you're typing in there. Now that was who started RPS, which was bought out by FedEx, which is FedEx Ground now. I'm a mover. Oh, or is he a mover? You talking about Tim? Tim must be a mover, I guess. Yeah, yeah. I'm an old guy that knows a lot of these old trucking lines because yeah, like I said, as you see right over my head, there's Carolina Freight. That's the company that I started with. That's a company that my dad worked at for 38 years. He was a driver, and we we both made a career. I left them in 1980, and went into business for myself, and then got back into the trucking business in 1987. So I was out of the trucking industry for a few years, but I started in 67 as a teenager, and then uh, got hired regular at Carolina Freight as a yard switcher in 70, was it 70, 71, or early February of 71. You're supposed to be a sleeper, baby. Oh, you talking about sleeper in the truck? See, and I can't do that. Now, if you're talking about uh, a, a sleeper in a truck, that's one thing I despise to have to do is I can sleep in a sleeper if the truck's sitting still, but I don't want to drive or ride in a sleeper going down the road. Some people say they can do it and do it fine. I never have been able to adapt to that. I mean, when that truck is moving, I want to be awake and behind the wheel, basically. Really weird story. Okay. Well, I have to find out about it someday, Tim. Yeah. And I was out on the road. Like I said, I was a yard switcher and a local driver from 1967 until 1980. And then I left the trucking industry for about 7 years. Yeah, that it's just tough, and it's not safe either. I've never felt safe. The only time I actually have felt safe is when my brother Perry, he and I could run as a team, and we both could get a little bit of sleep. I trusted him. I mean, he trusted me with my life, with his life and my life, and we did. That's the thing. Oh, let me rearrange here a little bit. I mean, that's the thing. When you are on a team, you're going to have to trust that person with your life, and that's what I couldn't do. I couldn't get into trusting uh, you know another individual as much as I could my brother, and I just didn't like it. Now my brother, I actually put him in a precarious situation. He was running a team run for me, and the boy had sleep apnea problems, fell asleep, and almost ran off Fancy Gap. He had just crested the hill at Fancy Gap, fell asleep, and run off into the ditch to the left. And had he gone just a few feet further, he would have rolled over and down the embankment down the other side. So it was real scary. And that's a roll. Well, he didn't roll the truck over. He actually just ran it in the ditch and up on its side a little bit, but cost a fortune out of me. That happened about, I want to say about 15 years ago, something like that. I can't remember the exact date, but very unfortunate situation. And my brother Perry was involved with it. He was in the sleeper. Perry, that boy had been sleeping all night, so it was Perry's turn to sleep. Perry had just gotten into sleeper at Charlotte, I think, or a little bit above Charlotte, and that boy took over. And that boy had been sleeping all night, and he was driving along, and then all of a sudden he fell asleep again. So and of course he was a real big guy. He was overweight, and this is when they were first starting to measure guys on their DOT physical. Uh, they would measure your neck, and they still do, their neck size. And I'm a candidate of that myself. I got to lose some weight because my neck size is getting big. I'm overweight right now too, and I need to lose weight. So that's an issue that you're going to have to deal with, and that's tough. That's tough. So I don't particularly, like I said, enjoy having sleeper berths and everything, and that's the reason I don't have any teams. Uh, the worst time I've had in trucking is when I had teams. because I was forever having to replace drivers and coordinate teams and stuff like that. And it's tough. It's tough. I don't like that. And if you have a husband and wife team, and say the husband gets sick, it's very hard to say, well, your wife needs to go out and we're going to put somebody else in there, maybe a man with your wife, to go out on a trip and go from here to California and back. Well, that causes a lot of conflict right there real quick. And so, you get into issues. So that's one reason I did not particularly like having team runs. I mean, I preferred the single operation runs, which that's all I have right now, and that's all I'm going to have. I'm not bidding on any more team runs at all. The only reason I had those team runs is because I bought out a contractor that had 3 team runs, and as quickly as I could get rid of them and get regular runs, which I had to wait till the bids came up, so I could bid off and get onto it before I could get it. But as soon as I was able to, I moved over back to the single operation and got rid of the teams because they're tough. They're tough. Fort Wayne, Indiana. Okay. I'll have to check that out, Tim. Okay. Well, I don't know what your brother and you have, Ponca. Yeah, but my brother's a pretty good driver too. He's out right now. Unfortunately, my brother broke his arm about 2 months ago now. Back in December, he was actually working for me and slipped and fell and broke his arm. So he was my good spare driver, and he's going to be out for a while because he broke it really bad. He broke it all the way across, broke both bones on his wrist, and it's going to be a while before he even gets good working conditions. I mean, good to get his hand back into good operation. Well, I don't blame you, comfortable man. That's a tough life. That's a tough life. I don't wish that upon anybody. Now, some people like it. Some people say, "Oh, they can sit back there and just like a baby, just keep on driving." I can't do that myself. I can't do that myself. I try my best to keep it, keep alert and on, everything going on the road good. Yeah, it is. It's dangerous. It's dangerous, and if you don't get the adequate sleep, whereas some people can't. If you can't get your a good at least 5 or 6 hours, 7 hours sleep when you're in your sleeper berth, you're supposed to be back at 10. And to me, it's tough to say 10 hours. We used to do, when I first started years ago, you do like 4 and 4. Somebody would drive 4 hours, and then you switch off, or 5 and 5 or 6 and 6. But now they make you stay back there for 10 hours. So that's tough in itself. I know it, and it can happen in just a split second too. It can happen. No, I don't run teams, Ponca. I do not. Now I run team trucks. As far as the trucks, they're capable of running teams, but no, I don't. I've got tandem sleeper trucks. I got several of them, and that's what I've been buying lately. But I do not have team runs, and don't want them. Yeah, it can. You can goof up in just a split second, and you've got to have adequate sleep to be able to do the team run concept. And too many, I think, are just fooling themselves about how much good sleep they get. And to me, they preach safety all the time, and to me, that's the most unsafe operation is a team run, because you got somebody, like I said, that he could doze off right quick because of being groggy, uh, like a drunk person almost for a long time, because of the fact that you're not getting a good sound sleep. I'm back and I'm backtracking here to make sure I'm not missing anything. I should be. I'm trying to keep up with everything and also chat at the same time. Oh me, I'll see where I cut myself this morning. I was out shaving this morning. I got a little bit too close to the skin there, but I'm not a pretty boy anyway, so I'm an old man. So getting a couple of cuts and bruises is not going to hurt me. Well, hey, Chris, I was wondering where you were. Oh, preparing for what kind of adventure are you going? You got another wild car you're going to go out and put on the road? Yeah, everybody check out, if you will, check those that are not signed up for Tim's, I'm Tim, Chris, Chris's channel. Check him out. He's trying to grow his channel like I am too. Chris is the Outcast Projects there. When you see that Outcast, he's an outcast outsider, old country boy, out in the Midwest. He's out in Kansas. Now I've seen you've had a lot of snow out that way, so y'all been getting flurries, and doesn't look like a big pile up of snow, but y'all are having some steady snow out there, aren't you, Chris? And Chris is I don't know where he gets all these barn finds, but you know everybody talks about all these barn finds where you go out and you get you find a car that somebody has and that sort of stuff. Chris has found plenty. He's been experimenting with a 55 Ford or 56 Ford, I believe it is, and some 60 Chevy step side there, and then he's got a Corvette that he's going to pull the engine out and change engines out of a pickup truck, I believe it is. You got a pickup truck with an LS engine. I don't know all the ins and outs about it, but anyway, he's going to change it out because he can fix that better than trying to refix the other parts of the Corvette, and just a variety of things. So if you go sign up for Chris's channel, you'll back up and look at all of his old stuff he's done. Everything from him and Ricky will scare you to death on their experiments way back. They were going underneath the house and digging a basement under a house, and just things that interesting, and good old country boy from Tennessee originally, I think. But y'all check him out. I think everybody will enjoy it. He doesn't have a lot of great big long videos. He has a lot of short videos, so you can get on there and watch him for 5, 6, 10 minutes, whatever, and then check him out. But I think you'll enjoy it. Hey, Craig, how are you this morning? We're getting a lot of new subscribers, and I hope some consistent ones. Craig, I'll put you in. I've seen you a couple of times. I'm gonna make you a moderator too, and that way I like seeing my moderators, and that way I know I've got consistent people coming in and out. So I try to put the moderators in there. So now you'll be a moderator too, Craig. Yeah, I like having people that are consistently coming back, and we're able to kind of have a regular conversation with them. And as we grow this YouTube channel, we're trying to grow. We're a little bit over 500, about 550 or something like that. Chris and I both are about the same. We're both trying to grow our channels, and just all of us guys that have small channels that are trying to grow them, jump in there and help us out and tell your buddies about them. So that's what I try to do. I like when I see the others on here that I know are growing theirs. I like to share the YouTube community with each other, because I think, well, we get to knowing each other. I see some of the same people on different channels that I converse with too, and it's good. Now, every once in a while, you get some that you get some people in there that'll give you a hard time. And do I have a CDL? Yeah, I drove this week. Yes, I do. I've been driving since. Yeah, I've had my CDLs. Well, actually, when I started, as you see back here with Carolina Freight, when I started, it was just called chauffeur's license, Craig. Uh, I started in 1967 as a yard switcher with Carolina Freight. I was still in high school, and then I got my chauffeur's license in 1970 or 71. I can't remember. It's either 70 or 71. And back then they were just called chauffeur's license. They weren't CDLs. CDLs didn't come about until the mid to late 80s, and I had to get my CDLs then, and because and like up until then we just had to have a Class A endorsement on your chauffeur's license. And originally, I think my first, I wish I still had it, but my first license was paper and no picture on it. They didn't even start putting pictures on the license until I want to say in the mid 70s, early 70s, about 72 or 3 or 4. I have to go back. I've got some of my old hippie looking and I say hippie looking because I had long hair back then. Right now I have hardly no hair, but back then I had long hair over my ears. Wasn't real long, but it was a style of 1970s. Yeah. No, I had to actually take a test for CDLs. I mean, I wasn't grandfathered in. They actually when we transferred our license from chauffeur's license over to that, I had to do it like everybody. It's like starting all over again almost. I didn't have to take a road test because I had all my road experience, but I had to take the written test and get my doubles endorsement and everything else, just like somebody coming into it today. And it was a big to do. I mean, there was all these companies out there at that time trying to sell you programs so you could make sure you got it and all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I was a hippie back then. I was a hippie back in the early 70s, I guess. It was stylish back then. I wouldn't call it. I wasn't stringy, long hair beads and all of that. I was more John Travolta, I guess. If you see the that style that John Travolta had back, that's sort of more of my style back then too. And he and I both have very little hair now too. But that's the way it was back in the early 70s and everything. But it's been an adventure. It's been an adventure. You were a long-haired, shirtless guy back then. I'd go shirtless occasionally if I was out working outside or something. I didn't do it all the time. Yeah, uh, I just you know I was sort of a middle of the road back then. I wasn't a wild extreme guy because I was married. I got married in 1970. So I've been married. This will be my 50th year of being married this year coming up. Yeah, I'm a hillbilly, I guess. Yeah, Bush Green. Now, who is Bush Green? I don't know. I don't know who Bush Green is. Are you new to the channel? You must be. I don't think I've ever seen you. Yeah. Yeah, like I said, I got married in 1970, so I didn't get to chase the girls as long as you did either. Comfortable man, that's for sure. But yeah, I did what I can do. Yeah, you like fast women and fast cars. Well, that's good. That's good. If you can stand it, that's a good thing, I guess. I Right now I'm a little more calmed down than that. I like to watch fast cars on the track, but I don't I have some I've got my 31 coupe that my grandson really likes right now. He enjoys it. It's got a 327 375 horse, which is plenty enough in that little coupe. Yep. Appreciate that, Chris. Appreciate that, Chris. Yeah, I don't know where he's from either. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I think we got a troll there. I think Bush Green is a troll. I don't know. Uh, I was on a tool channel uh, last week, and we had some guy that me and uh, one of the other boys from Georgia were on talking, and he jumped on talking. Said, "Why did you invite those old hillbillies to talk?" Hey, Junior, how are you? Yeah, that could be the same guy. Uh, I don't know. Do I remember? Yeah, I sure do. I mean, I've actually got a picture on my channel of my first tractor trailer truck. It's in the weeds right now. It's uh, it's a 90, not a 91, an 81 International cab over Transtar. I actually got a picture of it. It's at a friend's place. He bought it from me when I took it down to salvage. He took it and wanted to salvage some of the parts off of it. Yeah, okay. Could be. I don't know. Could be. Yeah, you have to watch. You have to watch some of them. You'll get different ones on the channel, and they'll troll the channel. The larger the channel gets, and mine's not large yet. It's like I said, I've only got about 550 something subscribers. But the larger you get, the more people that you get that want to disrupt your channel for some reason or other. And I never do understand that. I mean, I try to have a clean channel, and I try to have a channel that's interesting for other people to tune in and listen to. And then you'll have people that they troll channels and then want to disrupt them. So uh, it's yeah, I see. It seems the larger you get, the more trolls that you'll get jumping in. I've not had a huge amount. I've get one or two, and that's why I like to have our friends be uh, moderators, because I'm over here talking and I'm not watching what people are chatting with, and I don't want to see somebody jump in with a lot of profanity or crazy stuff. I don't know if I'm getting famous or not. I'm just I don't know if I'll ever be famous. I'm just Mike, and I think I want people to feel comfortable to come in and chat with me anytime I'm online and ask me any question, and I try to watch the chats and answer the questions that people are asking about. You're gonna be the terminators for the trolls. I appreciate it. Yeah, the and that's the good thing. You'll get like I said, you'll see different channels, and thank goodness people pick up on things real quick, and the moderators can see it before I can see it. generally, because I'm basically, looking at the screen and glancing over and trying to read and try to keep on conversation in what we're talking about, because that's what I think makes an interesting channel. And I like to, talk about, everything. And like I said, keep it a PG channel too, like Chris was talking about. I mean, anybody can get on and cuss and raise Cain and try to get it like clickbait, I guess, and get somebody, oh wow, did you hear what he said? Well, that's not what I want to do. I want to be, have a channel that talks about tools, cars, trucks, uh, things that are interesting to a lot of people that have done some of the things that I've done. And if I'm able to uh, transmit some information uh, to the audience that I have, that's the good thing. And if I'm able to converse, because I like for it to be a two-way conversation with the people that I'm chatting with. I don't want it to be just one-sided, me just talking. Uh, I like to everybody view the chat, and then as I kind of moderate what's going on, then do pretty good with it. Yeah, and that's good. Well, there's JC. Yeah, I know it's tough now. JC had a huge channel last night. I mean, JC had like 230. At one time I was in there, I think it was about 235 people chatting at the same time. I think that's fantastic. I think that's fantastic to have that many people in at the same time, and it's pretty neat. It's really pretty neat to be able to uh, have a channel of that's informative like JC's, and have that many people in there at the same time. JC's channel's really growing and getting. JC can't even wave and say hi to me. He's so busy, but he'll catch me and Chris in there every once in a while. We'll try to. I don't get to say as much because he's got so much going on, and I try to watch it, and it's tough. It's tough. But JC's got a great channel. If anybody wants to see trucks being built, JC does it. So JC Smith Projects there is a great channel for anybody that's new on here. Yeah. Yeah, JC puts up a lot of videos about trucks that he's modified and fixed, and JC is a jack of all trades on a lot of things. He gets a lot of international trucks. He has them everywhere from the tractor trailer trucks down to the F-250s and everything. So, very interesting channel. So if anybody has never seen JC's channel, I always recommend going over and seeing JC's channel. And, or as he calls it, just about his junk trucks. And in some people's eyes, that's what it is. But in other people's eyes, it's a gold mine. I mean, I had a gentleman that jumped on my channel. I actually had to block him myself, and he was calling us a bunch of hillbillies and just an old trashy shop and old trashy trucks. And hey, that's what you want to. If you're that negative about everything, why do you even bother to come on somebody's channel? And that's what you get sometimes, is you get those trolls or people that are uppity in some respects. I mean, this boy was from, like I said, I was on CP Tool Addicts channel, and I was on his live chat. There's 4 or 5 of us on there, and there's 2 of us from the South, and he jumped on, and he was calling me and the other boy just hillbillies. Why'd you let these hillbillies on the channel, and all this sort of stuff? And I'm going, I'm sorry. I talk the way I talk because that's the way I was raised. It's not because I'm uneducated. I actually got a college education. My wife is a former school teacher and got a master's in education. My son's an electrical engineer. So we're not uneducated people, but we're not well spoken like some people and some parts that think I've got to speak the King's English. Uh, but I know how to use the English language, but it's with a Southern drawl, and some people are offended by that, and I don't understand why. And they may be. I think it's like what JC says. I mean, JC and I talk a lot. JC's been down here to see me, and I feel very comfortable with JC. I hope he does with me also. And great guy, and he speaks like they speak in Ohio, but he's just a good old country boy from Ohio. He's not trying to be a, a, a Rhodes Scholar, and that's what you get sometimes. You get people that I think are a little bit uppity sometimes and want to run people down, and I don't like to do that. Regardless of your education, regardless, I mean, you could be somebody that works in the sewer. You could be a trash man. You could be a truck driver. You can be a lawyer. You can be a doctor. You can be all of those. But I don't feel like anybody is above the other person. And so many times you'll get people that they feel like, well, I'm better than you because I can either speak better or I do this better or whatever. I don't understand it. And it is what it is. I'm sort of like Jeff Foxworthy. Uh, I wouldn't be running down all these old Southern hillbillies or whatever. You might get to the pearly gates one day, and they say St. Peter might open the gate and say, "Hey, y'all, come on in." So you got to watch that sometime. And so you don't want to insult everybody. I mean, I had a friend from England. I think I've told this in the past to some of them that he said, you remind me of somebody I watch on TV. And I said, who was that? And he said, Foghorn Leghorn. And I said, okay, I guess I am. I got the old gravelly voice and Southern drawl, and I probably sound like Foghorn Leghorn, the rooster on the cartoons. So, and that if that's it, so be it. I'm proud of my Southern heritage, and I hope my spoken word does not insult anybody because I don't put on airs. I don't try to be what I'm not. So when you sign into my channel, when you see me out here, I'm not going to pretend to have a Midwestern DJ voice or whatever. I am going to be sounding like I sound. So it is what it is on that. Yeah, and that's it. We all put our pants on the same way. At least we hope we do. Uh, there's question out there in the world today about that. But I like to. I'm a common person, and I like to speak to other people that are common. Well grounded people. Well, somebody that's diverse, that does a lot of things. Excuse me a second. Uh, but I'm never going to be uppity. If you want me to be fancy and uppity, that's not me. Don't sign in to see me because I'm not going to be that guy. I mean, I'm experienced. I've got a lot of experience in the trucking industry. I've got a lot of experience. I'm mechanical to a degree. I'm not. I'm not a good mechanic like some people are. I'm mechanically minded. I feel like I can do a lot of things that other people can't, and I'm fairly smart on trying to fix things. But I'm not an expert by no stretch of the imagination. But we all learn at different levels by having some good experience. I would imagine JC and Chris and all the rest of them have learned how to be mechanical by experimenting. You get out there and you get the wrenches, you get the tools. You go, this is broke. How do we fix it? And that's how you learn. And some of the best mechanics that I've ever seen have learned that way. Not all of them have got the book knowledge, whereas, and 99% of your people will tell you that have had to study mechanics in school, you're learning primarily one person's opinion. If you go to a book, that person may have had his experiences, but you're going to have his opinion about that. I like to see a variety of ways to solve mechanical problems. That's one reason, like JC, we're talking about JC, very smart on a lot of things that I've seen him do with electrical. Just he's got problems that he has to solve in Ohio that I don't have to solve in North Carolina because I'm not in a Rust Belt state. Now he's got a Rust Belt state that he has not as bad as New York and maybe Michigan or some of these other places, but in Ohio they still have a lot of rust up there too, and he has to deal with some things. Now, we all can learn from that, and that's what I try to do. I try to learn. Uh, I don't try. Like I said, I don't try to be the best at everything, but I try to learn a lot. Yeah, and yeah, now JC's going to get his education. He's by hook or crook or making mistakes and everything else. And then you ask people, or you watch people, and you can watch people make a mistake and say, "Wait, you don't do that." Or I have watched, and I know y'all probably have seen these things too. I've watched people do things, and I go, "Oh, don't do that. You're going to make a mistake." And they go ahead and do it, and they make a mistake. And I'm going, "Well, yeah, I've done that too." But I've kind of cringed at times seeing people make a mistake, knowing or seeing something they're getting ready to do, thinking, well, you're going to have the same problem that I've had in years past if you do that. But it's good, and the internet is good out here. The YouTube is good because you can see a variety of things, and that's what I love to do. I mean, I scan the globe of YouTube to see what I can see. And that's how I've met up with a lot of these people. Like JC. JC was doing, and I have no idea exactly what it was, but I was researching something and typed it in, and JC was doing it. I think it was something. It was something where he was taking a bed off of a truck and everything, and we were doing something similar. I think taking a bed off of one, and I just researched it, and JC had done it, and I watched what he did, and I said, "Well, that's cool." And then that's when I saw him with his gray doll and everything, and was watching him take off. I said, "Man, I got to get me one," and I got me a telehandler now. I saw the need of that, and it's really come in handy at my shop. We can pull motors out and do a lot of different things with it. And I like seeing people that are inventive. I like seeing people. I was watching one last night of a young man that I forget what his name was, but he's building him a 4-wheel drive a small 4-wheel drive dump truck so he can use around in his yard, and he's putting like a little Honda engine or Predator engine or whatever, I think, on he's machining, and he's a good machinist because you can see all the different machining that he's doing, and he's machining the transmission and making that basically putting it up to a Subaru. He went to a salvage yard, I guess, and got a 4-wheel drive Subaru, cut it down to a smaller tractor type thing, and he's building this whole thing. I'm up to the third part of it, but that's him, Mike Festiva. You got it. Pretty neat kid, ain't it? Now, JC, you've seen him too, and I think it's he's a young Henry Ford type, in my opinion. I thought it was, well, hey, Matt, you're late to the party. Well, you're never completely late. I could have got you didn't get to hear me complaining earlier about, I got one of the newer trucks that I bought, one of the DD15s, and I had an issue with it. I had to drive it this week, and had a small water leak, and it was having a EGR cooler leak, and it was aggravating the crap out of me. But we got it fixed. Yeah, I know it, JC, and you're probably like me. That Mike Festiva, that's who the boy was. I was watching him too, and very interesting. I thought it was a very interesting young man that his little project that he had, because he, like I said, looks like he's a good machinist, and he was cutting down the axles and everything. So it was very, very interesting, and I like channels like that. I like channels that I feel like that I can learn something from. Yeah, I don't know what it was that we changed out to EGR cooler on it, but yeah, it was aggravating that these new plastic tanks that they've got on those Cascadias. I thought was having an issue with it not feeding back to the tank right, because it as soon as I would stop it, crack the cap, boy, it would rush the water back in, but then it would leak down and get below the sensor and then shut me down. So yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, that I know it, and that was good, and I'm glad they did, because I said, man, this is interesting. Like I said, and that's how I got over to JC's channel years ago. Is I was researching something, and yeah, yeah, the boy's a pretty smart kid. I thought he had an interesting channel. And we would not be able to do this without being able to search these channels and see these different people and see that. And I'm really okay. You got an okay. Is it a brand new Cascadia or just a Cascadia? Yeah. Now I bought what I bought. I bought 15 of the Walmart trucks, and they through Select Truck of Charlotte. This is what you get when you buy 15 trucks. You get a hat. uh, oh, yours is brand new. Okay. Yeah, these that I've got are 2015s, and I'm looking at maybe some 2017s. But I've got to have the ones with the new technology. It's called FCAM technology. That's what's required with FedEx now. We all got to have the FCAM technology that has it, which is the forward collision. Was FCAM's forward collision something mitigation system? Accident forward collision accident mitigation system. That's what the FCAM stands for, I think. And we've got to have that and all the camera systems, everything else electronic in it. So we can't go with the older trucks. I'm actually going to be selling off about 10 or 12 of my older trucks. I've got a bunch of Columbias that I'm going to be selling off in the next few months or within the next year or whatever. We overhauled a couple, but we're going to have to go to all those newer trucks because of the way they're mandating that for us to do. So I've got to go ahead and upgrade. And so we got to have I got to have all of my trucks. So that's about 50 units I've got to buy within the next 3 or 4 years. So I'm gradually moving them into the system. I think we've got all total now. I think we've got 18 of the trucks that will that fit that criteria, that have the FCAM system on it. And so we're trying to do that right now, and hopefully we can get everything done without breaking the bank, because it's not fun. I can tell you that it's not fun to go out there and buy 15 trucks at a time. It puts a crimp on your lifestyle. I'll tell you that. Yeah, there's some people that are doing that, Ponca, the exact same thing, because, and a friend of mine just sold his routes last week, and And I'm getting to be one of the old guys out here that are still hanging on and doing this. Now the younger guys don't seem to mind as much because they're having to get into the system anyway, and a lot of them are wanting to have their new trucks. Oh me, I'm getting kind of slunched down. Let me get up here a little bit. But you know, you got to go with the flow. If you're going to stay as a contractor, you're going to have to have the newer type trucks, whether you like it or not. So, you know, I felt like I'd bite the bullet and go ahead and get started with it and kind of get myself comfortable making the payments and doing all that and get ourselves lined up, because it's going to be something that they're going to come down with a heavy fist if you don't have it. And I don't want to be the guy that's sitting on the sidelines and then all of a sudden he's going to lose part of his contract because he didn't fulfill his obligation with the newer trucks. And that's going to happen with some of them. I really feel like that's going to happen. There are going to be guys that they're going to force them out. They're going to go, well, we can't sign you. Your contract can't be signed up. You can't renew your contract because you don't have all these trucks that will meet the criteria. So it's better to be safe than sorry. So that's why I'm going for it. So I'm trying my best to, like I said, get out there and do what I'm supposed to do and get these trucks in there. Oh man, gotta give me a swig here. Get my diet Mountain Dew. I can't drink the all sugary one. I'm too heavy as it stands. I fill out this t-shirt pretty good. Well, I did think about getting out, but what we're going to do, as some of you, well, good morning, Jim. Glad to see you from Central Ohio. You're right over there close to J.C. Smith's projects. He's over in, I guess, pretty much Central Ohio is where you're from too, J.C. J.C., what is the name of that little town you're from? I can't remember now. But he's from not too far from Canton, I believe. But yeah, I've thought, like I said earlier, I was telling you about, I've got a young couple that we're bringing in they're going to take us over basically, and we're going to work them in over the next few years, and we're selling them parts of the business, and we're making them partners. They're minority partners of our business, and they're going to basically, I'm going to back away. I'm not going to be involved with the day-to-day grind. I mean, I don't mind being involved with the day-to-day operation as far as as long as I don't have to get out and drive like I did this past week. I don't particularly like driving anymore. I'll be 69 years old this year. So you can understand I've been driving a truck since 1967. So, I've got enough miles to not worry about having the experience. It doesn't feel bad to get out and dust off the old cobwebs occasionally, but I don't want to do it on a regular basis. I mean, you're northwest of Columbus, are you, Jim? Okay. Well, that's not, so you're a little bit west probably of JC, because JC is a little more back to the right, I think. JC will know better. What's the name of the town that you're in if you're northwest Columbus? I mean, we got a terminal in Columbus. I've been into Columbus a couple of times. Of course, Cincinnati and Columbus and all those places. Our Cincinnati is not really Cincinnati. We call it Northern Kentucky. I do what they call a butt head with a Northern Kentucky driver every day going up to that. Yeah. But that's oh, so you're in Dublin, Ohio. Now, JC, how far is that from you, Dublin, Ohio? How far is Dublin, Ohio from you, JC? This gentleman, Jim C, is from Dublin. That's not too far from you, is it, JC? He says he's northwest of Columbus. Yeah, JC's more over toward the Pennsylvania side. He's over there getting closer to Pennsylvania and West Virginia. So he's about 2.5, or yeah, two and a half hours away. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Now, did you get your own truck? Comfortable, man? Yeah. Yeah. You're, if you've got your own authority now and your insurance is going to be pretty high the first year or two until you can get some experience. It's like everything else you can get some experience under your belt uh, with any kind of thing. If you get your own authority, it'll cost you some money. I know when I got my authority, although I've actually I had an authority for about 4 or 5 years, and we've actually dissolved our authority because it's going to save me about $40,000 this year. And with my new partner, we're going to merge his authority back in there, and we don't need two. It's kind of redundant, so I let my authority, which I don't have to have with FedEx, and I only had to have it with Amazon, and I got rid of Amazon. Amazon was really aggravating to me. I didn't like it, and I don't like the direction they're at now. There's a lot of people running Amazon, and Amazon is just throwing everything to the wall to see what sticks. And it's not a pleasant place to work anymore. And so I got rid of that. If it's sort of like, if it looks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's usually a duck. And that's the way I felt like it was with Amazon. I just didn't like it, and they're taking advantage of a lot of people and a lot of companies, and they will throw you to the wolves in just a split second. Junk to fix? You mean you have treasures to fix, JC, not junk? Or are you going to make them treasures? Yeah. Well, guys, it's about time for me to go too. I've been on here about an hour and 15 minutes. And after about that much time, my voice gets a little bit scratchy and wore out. So I'm going to probably get off here too, go the way of some of the others. I enjoyed chatting with everybody this morning. So y'all have a good day. And I say y'all because I'm Southern. So y'all have a good day, and I'll see you out here next week about the same time, 9 o'clock next Sunday. See ya. See you, Matt.